Hello and welcome to episode 23 of Gameday Gameplay. I'm your host Sean Colangelo, and Todd, no one likes you when you're 23.
I've heard that.
I don't like you at all,
I like us.
but just kidding. I love you. This is the sports segment of the console space. Todd, I was listening back to some of our old episodes, and I'm like, man, we're like a bunch of old men, and like, we talk about the weather. So, um, instead, and this might extend these a little tiny bit, but you know what? Who gives a shit, bro? This is our podcast, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna ask you the same question that I usually ask JP and Rob on the Console Space podcast. What video games have you been playing?
Kind of a mixed board, dude. I've been trying to finish up Platinum and God of War. So doing that today. Um, Still working on my Detroit playthrough here and there. Obviously, I'm still playing Fortnite and Rocket League as my competitive games that I play every now and then. And I've been kind of getting back into the old Pokemon routine with my emulator on my Android tablet there. So just finished playing Silver, and I just started up Emerald earlier this week. So
Hell yeah. I can't blame you, actually. So we recorded an episode of the Console Space podcast today. It's not going to go up and probably until I get back from my honeymoon, so like 2-3 weeks. But we were talking about Rob was talking about how he has been playing Pokemon. I think everybody got a little hyped after that recent Nintendo announcement.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of, I mean, I've even kind of gone back and been playing a little bit. I'm really excited for that. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hear you. I platinumed Detroit and God of War, and so I didn't want to stop playing those games, but I really had no reason to play them anymore. I was like, I platinumed them. There's not much more I can do.
Nah, not really.
So, but yeah, I'm playing Far Cry right now, which is okay, but I'm not really blown away by it.
I'm right there with you. So.
Yeah, Far Cry 5, that is.
Although supposedly the Vietnam expansion just came out for that.
The Vietnam
earlier
expansion.
This week. They have like a Vietnam story DLC that takes place like during the Vietnam War or something. I don't know. I bought the season pass when I bought the game, so I'll probably download that and try it out at some point and see if it's any better. But
gotcha. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's get down to it. We are only able to record this on this particular date because both the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup Finals went pretty quickly. Probably a little quicker than people thought. I mean, especially in hockey.
On the Stanley Cup, at least, yeah.
Yeah. The NBA Finals, I don't know that anyone really doubted that the Cavs were probably not going to be able to pull that one out, but they didn't even win a game. And I guess we can go ahead and start there. They got swept by the Warriors.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one. I think we picked the Warriors in 5, didn't we?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right, because I thought LeBron would pull them out of at least one game. And honestly, he almost did with game 1. They should have won that game. J.R. Smith will forever remember how they should have won that game, but they definitely should have won that game.
Yeah, that was brutal.
But, yeah. After that, though, they didn't even, like, none of the games after that were even close, man. Game 4, they got beat by 33. I mean, your season's on the line and you lose by 33 points.
Yeah.
I think LeBron pretty much phoned it in after that one.
I think he did too.
I mean, he was still dropping 30, 40 points a night, but
yeah,
I think he was kind of just resigned to the fact that he wasn't going to win the series and just wanted to get the year done with so he gets free agency. And
I was going to say, I think he just wants to get the hell out of Cleveland.
Much like everyone that's ever been to Cleveland ever, he wants to get the hell out of Cleveland.
I concur with that statement. I've been to Cleveland. Unfortunately.
But yeah, it's As you already said, I mean, Golden State swept them. Golden State looked good. Durant looked good. I think he won the Finals MVP. Um, he dropped 43 on the game that they won in Game One, I think, when LeBron dropped 51. LeBron became the only person to ever drop 50 in a Finals game and lose. So there's that. That tells you all you need to know about how Golden State, or how Cleveland played besides LeBron. Um, LeBron was obviously balling. He always does, but there was absolutely no one else in that team that could do anything, man.
Yeah. Um, you know what? I'm sure a lot of people are saying this. You got to figure if the Cavs were able to win that first game, like they very well may have had a chance to, if Smith would have shot it or at least passed it to somebody for a shot.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably a whole different series.
I think it goes longer. I still think Golden State wins it because LeBron can carry a team pretty far, but against Golden State, that's just too much to ask one person to do.
Yeah, true.
Because you can shut down Steph, you can shut down Green, you can shut down Clay, but Durant's still gonna go off for 40 a night. You know what I mean? So
Right. Well, speaking of Kevin Durant, I think he already came out and said that he's going to resign there too. So, uh,
yeah, it looks like they're trying to keep that team together for as long as they can, which I don't like. I mean, if we're being honest with, I mean, the NBA I think is struggling right now with the product they're putting out, and I think part of it is because of this whole move to the super team. Um,
yeah.
and it's just become Cleveland versus Golden State. I mean, this is the fourth straight year we've had Cleveland versus Golden State, and I know Cleveland won one, but even that one they won, there were some iffy circumstances as to how they won it. In that, there was the green suspension in Game 5 when Golden State could put it away, and all these other things that happened. And even besides that series, Golden State's just handled Cleveland every single time. Just absolutely handled them.
Yeah. Well, the
Um,
good news is, especially if LeBron leaves, you got to figure that matchup's not going to happen again.
no, but it'll still end up being super team versus super team, and I'm just kind of like,
True.
I mean, is this really what we want the NBA to be? I mean,
Right.
you know, it kind of takes. I mean, obviously that'll be a good series. If he goes out west, that'll probably be the Western Finals. Or if he goes to an Eastern team, that'll probably be the new championship, and it should be better than when he's with Cleveland. But just kind of makes the rest of the playoffs seem pointless. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh no, it totally does. I mean, I don't think it's such a bad thing to maybe have 2 years straight, because
yeah, gives you a little
one,
bit of
yeah,
a
yeah,
story.
yeah, because like one team obviously won last year, and then you have a team looking for revenge, but 4 straight years is it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Even three is okay because that's where you get, especially if they split like Cleveland and Golden State did,
Yeah, true.
because then you get like kind of like the tiebreaker of okay, which one of these is actually the better team. But
Right.
after that one, I was kind of like, I was rooting for Houston because I wanted somebody besides Golden State to win the championship.
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Cannot blame you there.
but it is what it is. Yeah, LeBron's out of Cleveland faster than you can blink. It's just a matter of where is he going. Does he go to Houston to play with CP? Do he and CP both leave to go somewhere like LA or somebody that has cap space? I've heard he's meeting with Boston too, potentially reuniting with Kyrie. I mean,
Mm.
there's a bunch of different options out there, but
Well, I thought they kind of had a falling out, or was that overblown?
it was overblown. It was more of Kyrie just like not being happy with Cleveland's management and the way they did stuff.
I got you.
Which, I mean, listen, I can't disagree with them. Cleveland yet again proves why it's the city, the mistake on the lake. They have the, you know, arguably the best player to ever play. I don't think he is. I still think that honor goes to Jordan, but he's definitely the best player of his generation. They had him twice now, and they've managed a total of one championship out of it,
Yeah. Uh, yeah.
and have
That's
completely failed to build a team around him.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think when they had, when it was him and Love and Kyrie, I think that's a core you can build around. But obviously,
Yeah,
once they
and that's
lost,
the reason why that's the only year they won.
right? Exactly. Yep.
But
So
but they mismanaged that. They can't keep Kyrie happy. They have him leave. Love has fallen off the grid a little bit. I mean, he's still the second best player on the team, um, but that's not saying much. You know what I mean? When you look at
right.
the rest of the team behind him and LeBron. So
Yeah, he just needs more help, and I don't think he's gonna get it, and that's probably why he's gonna leave.
oh, he's not getting to Cleveland. He's yeah. I on it like if I was a Vegas better and they gave me 1,000,000 to 1 odds for him staying in Cleveland, I still wouldn't take that bet
Right.
because it's just not happening.
I didn't think I would either, man.
But yeah, kind of kind of disappointing final. I mean, came down to it, and you know Cleveland got swept. Game one was entertaining at least because it went to overtime. It was close, and but after that it was just a massacre and no fun to watch. And I don't know. I guess we'll have to see how the NBA reorganizes itself this offseason, but that's a tough one for the league to recover from because that's a boring final.
Yeah. Well, like I said, especially if LeBron leaves, I think we're finally going to get a
Yeah,
different matchup. Like you said,
yeah.
it'll still probably be kind of. Well, you know what though? The thing is though, if LeBron leaves Cleveland, will there really be a super team in the East, or will it be kind of more of like Houston and Golden State as the main two super teams?
Well, it depends on where he goes. If he goes somewhere in the East, yeah. Um,
I mean, I guess
there
if
are
you,
talks.
yeah,
There are talks that there's two teams he could go to in the East, and I think they're mostly Boston and Philly. A little bit of a hint of maybe a reunion with Miami too, but I don't see that happening to be honest with you. So
yeah, I
um,
doubt it.
I think the East might be more attractive for him because he would rather play Golden State if he's going to play him in the finals than during the run kind of thing. Um, but it just depends on who's going to give him the best offer and for the team to build. I really think you'll see him and Chris Paul kind of work together and try to get on the same team because they've been trying to do that for a while now. So
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting, man. But
yeah,
tell you what, though, the Warriors. I mean, if they stay intact, they're gonna be hard to beat.
yeah. I mean, you can't
They're gonna
you
be
can't
really
knock
hard.
them for what they've done. I mean, they can go out and build the super team, but you still got to play the game and win the championship. So
Right.
they've they are 100% a dynasty, um, and probably one of the best ones we've seen in a good long while. Maybe since Bill Russell's Celtics or Kobe's Lakers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Teams like that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting. But this is probably the last of the Cleveland Golden State uh, matchups. And oh man, I feel bad for the Cavaliers next year because that team is going to be a bottom feeder without LeBron.
Well, it's funny you mention that because we said the same thing. Not maybe not quite that extreme, but we said similar things about the Washington Capitals. And on that note, why don't we
Mm-hmm.
talk about what was probably one of the most improbable Stanley Cup final matchups in history?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think anybody bet on this one. Now I know there's a lot of people that took the bet for Vegas to win the cup just because the massive payout it was going to give, and I know there's some sports bettors in Vegas that are breathing a sigh of relief after Game Five
Oh
there.
yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
um, I mean, yeah, in this offseason, I thought Washington was going to fall off. I still thought they were going to be a playoff team. I didn't have them out of the playoffs,
No,
you know.
no, I didn't have them out of the
Um,
playoffs, but I definitely did
but
not think they were going to win the cup.
when they put up the rosters they had over the last 2 years and failed to get there, and then lose guys like Williams, Shattenkirk, Schmidt, help me out. They lost somebody else too. Burka, no, not Burka.
Your
Yeah,
Hanson.
Mojo.
Yeah.
Mojo, yeah. Man,
Um,
I thought there was no way.
it was
But
Williams, Shattenkirk, Johansson, Schmidt, Alsner.
yeah, Alsner too. I forgot about
They
that.
they lost all 5 of those guys. I mean,
Yeah,
big players for him.
for pretty much nothing in return either. I think they got
Yeah,
like what, a second for Mojo.
I think a second and a third.
Yeah,
That was it.
and that's it. That's it. Um, yeah, that's crazy, man. Um, you gotta give them props though. Maybe it was the fact that they didn't have the pressure of having that great roster and being that that powerhouse team this year. Like maybe it was kind of the fact that everyone went into it saying, "Oh, Washington doesn't have a chance this year." Maybe without that pressure, they were able to just play.
Yeah, I'd have to go. I'd have to go play it back and prove it.
Hmm.
But I do feel like I said way back at the beginning of the season that maybe this is what the Caps needed, and sure enough, it turned out that I mean
Hmm.
that they because in 2016 and 17 they were like pretty much the Cup favorites. I
Yeah.
mean
Oh, for
it's
sure.
especially
At
in
least out of the East. At least out of
yeah,
the East.
for sure. And they just couldn't get past the Penguins, as so often was the case in their history. And I don't know, it really felt like this year. You knew once they finally beat Pittsburgh that that was either going to springboard them or was going to bring them crashing down just because of all the emotion. And
Yeah.
fortunately for them, it was the former, and they went all the way to win it.
Yeah. Well, let's break down their entire run here in a second. But before we do that, let's talk about the other team. Um, you know, I know this isn't the outcome they wanted, but Vegas has nothing to be ashamed about from this season at all.
No, yeah,
I mean,
absolutely not.
one of the greatest sports stories of probably ever of all time. A team that no one gave a chance, brand new team expansion, never even touched the ice before this year. Had a roster that most people predicted to be a bottom five team. I mean, sure they had an all-star goalie in Fleury, and they had some scoring talent up front with Neal, Arch. I don't think anyone predicted William Karlsson was going to be a 40-goal scorer.
No,
I don't think
def-
anyone predicted that Nate Schmidt was going to prove himself to be a top two defenseman in the league. Um, well, top two, a bona fide top two guy, not a top two defenseman like total, but
right.
um, yeah, man, what a run they had, and then they get to the playoffs and they just spank their way through to the final, um, which I think
Well,
goes to show you how much better the East is than the West right now, at least in terms of the top teams.
yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Um,
Like, not to take anything away from Vegas, but the West is just not what it used to be, man. Uh, the Hawks and the Kings are a far cry from when they were winning cups, and I mean,
I agree.
Winnipeg and Nashville are great
I
teams.
did think Winnipeg would give them more of a challenge than they did.
Yeah, that was really shocking that they beat
But I
Winnipeg in
also feel
5.
like it could have been a situation where Winnipeg and Nashville played each other before that and beat each other up so much
Yeah,
that Winnipeg was just gassed by the time. I mean, Vegas, they breezed past LA and didn't even really struggle that bad against San Jose either. So
yeah, exactly. I
the
think they
Pacific,
were,
dude, is just ugh, it's weak.
yeah, I think they were a little bit fortunate in that regard that that Winnipeg and the Preds played each other first. Um, but yeah, again, I mean, you got to give them credit for making it that far. But
Oh, for sure.
like I said, I think when we previewed, it was hard to bet against Vegas just because they kept on winning. But I wasn't really surprised at all that the Capitals won. I thought it would take maybe another game. Um, but with the way they were playing, I mean, I'm not shocked that the clock finally struck midnight for Vegas.
Yeah. No,
So
I'm not shocked at the outcome. I thought it was going to be a closer series. I really
yeah,
did. Um, You know what? And I'll give all the credit in the world to Barry Trotz because this playoffs, he finally made the adjustments he needed to make that team play the way that they could win. Maybe it's because they didn't have the talent they had before.
You mean they trapped?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Hey, it
mean,
works, man. Whatever. It
Vegas
works.
did too. So
Yeah, exactly.
Vegas has been running the trap all year.
Right.
Um, and it's kind of weird, given that the last couple playoff runs, at least the last 2 years, have been defined by these high speed, high skill teams. Making the run, and teams have tried to emulate that as much as they can, and then it ends up being two teams that are running the trap, playing the
Right. Right.
pocket. But Um, yeah, I mean Washington. They struggled a little bit against Columbus at first, and then they turned that around. They came and then they had to play Pittsburgh again. Sure they did not like the prospects of that, but give them credit. That's when I think they really altered their system and started playing the trap. Is when they came up against Pittsburgh and Trotz said, "Oh hey, well this is working," and they kept doing it against other high skill teams like Tampa and yeah, it's a shame to see it, but they finally they got the monkey off their back and they finally got that cup that they've been looking for. So
Yeah. Like I said, I think Vegas um, benefited from Winnipeg and Nashville playing each other. I think the Capitals benefited from the Penguins winning two cups. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, and again, I'm not taking anything away from Washington. They absolutely deserve it with the way they were playing. I mean, they were playing unbelievable hockey. I mean, with the way they were checking and playing defense, it reminded me of the 2016 Penguins, where they just smothered you and like you could do
yep,
nothing.
yep,
Um, but like we probably said back when we recorded, like I wasn't that surprised that they beat the Penguins. Um, they were just playing much better hockey, and you could tell that the Penguins were just gassed. I mean,
hmm
you know, they had played like 300 and something games since October of 2015.
yeah,
Yeah. So I think each team, well, you know what else too with the Caps is like they would always have the worst luck, and this particular playoff, like pretty much every little bounce and a lot of calls and things just went their way. You
yeah,
know, and again, that has to happen when you win the cup. Like you have to catch some
oh
breaks and
for
get some
sure,
calls.
for sure.
Um,
I mean, it happened to the Pens.
yeah, exactly.
Like I'm not gonna sit here and talk about. I won't give any credence to the rumors that or the conspiracy theories of teams buying off refs and things like that. But if you
No,
look at the Nashville series, they had the offside challenge, which I mean it was ticky tacky, but if they had implemented the rule they had this year, Sully probably doesn't challenge that. But it was offside by the letter of the rule. And then they had the situation, where they scored the goal, but the refs lost sight of the puck and discounted it.
right? Yeah,
Um,
for sure. Yeah, it's just
so
um, things, you know, things didn't go Washington's way for 45 years or whatever, and this
yeah,
year things just finally went their way. So, um,
even
it's
as Pens fans, obviously I wasn't pulling for Washington, but it is nice to see Ovi win it because Ovi is one of the greatest players of this generation that did not have a cup, without a doubt.
he's one of the greatest
Like
players of all
this,
time.
yeah,
And yeah, I can't help but be happy for him. Like I remember just before we came on, I was telling you about a video I saw of him doing a keg stand out of the cup,
hmm
and you just can't help but smile.
yeah. I think the best antidote for that, I'm sure you saw it. You saw the chick that, let's say, showed her assets during
Yeah,
the celebration. The rest of the team stops and is distracted by that. Ovi doesn't even notice. Ovi is just so stoked about winning the cup. He's just losing his mind, and you see the rest of the team behind him staring into the crowd at this chick. It's hilarious, but
yeah, that was. That was classic Vegas, really. You're just like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
dudes,
just about.
yep, sounds about right. But yeah, what are you gonna do, man? Like I said, there are a few capitals that it's gonna pain me to see their name etched on the cup, but
Cough, Tom Wilson cough.
he's really the only one, honestly. Um,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
stings. That stings for us. But again, I can't be too phased about it. I mean, with all the Penguins' recent success, it's hard to be like, oh, like actually pissed or anything like that.
yeah,
And like I said, in fact, I'm actually pretty happy for particularly Ovi and their fans, and it's been a long
yeah,
time coming. So, um,
yeah, for sure.
but they say the road only gets harder from here, so it'll be interesting to see what they do next season. I don't see them repeating, but I guess you never really know. I didn't think the Pens were going to
Well,
repeat either, so.
yeah, we'll see what happens. They've got a big challenge coming up with John Carlson's contract because he was on an extremely friendly contract for them.
Well, not
Um,
just that, man, but two players that were great performers for them this season, and especially in the playoffs, were Smith Pelly and Tom Wilson. And those guys are both RFAs, and they're both going to be due
mhm.
pretty good raises. I mean, I don't think you're going to have to pay them ridiculously, but I don't. I mean, you think probably like in the 2-3 million range, right?
Probably. Isn't Eller up too?
No, no,
Eller's not up?
no. They have
Oh
him
no, they
locked
just
up.
re-signed him this year. Yeah,
Yeah, they have him locked up for a long time now.
yeah.
But
Because he played really well for them too
yeah,
this
yeah,
3C, but
um, yeah. I mean, but you're gonna have to give
it'll be it'll
pretty.
be interesting. I can't. I mean, if DSP wants 3 million, I can't see them bringing him back. I think he'll go to another team. Um, they'll bring Wilson back, but
I can see
are you
them.
sure? Is Smith Pelly an RFA or UFA?
He's an RFA.
Is he?
Yes, I think.
I thought he'd been around for a while.
I think I could see them giving him about 2 mil and Wilson like
Uh huh.
3.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
can see it, but
I think that's
I can
pretty
tell you right now, if it
realistic.
comes down to they have to keep one of the two, they're going to keep Wilson. Smith Pelly
Well,
won't.
yeah,
But
absolutely. But see, but what I'm getting at is I think that they'll be able to re-sign those guys, but if they do that, there's no way they keep Carlson.
yeah, yeah,
I
we'll have to see
mean,
what they do.
it's going to be almost impossible to keep him to begin with, especially if they give those two guys raises, which they kind of have to after the way they performed.
Yeah,
Um, Carlson had to take quite the pay cut.
yeah, and I don't know if he will because I think he's already done that once. You know what I mean? Like I said, he was on a ridiculously friendly contract for them. I think he's even though they did win a championship, I think he's gonna have to go somewhere where he can get paid. Um,
Yeah, you know, I was reading somewhere that was theorizing that, ironically enough, it's very possible that he could end up in Vegas.
Vegas is gonna have cap space, man. It'll be
I
interesting to
mean,
see what they do with this offseason too. Um,
yeah. Well,
you know,
they're. I mean, they need they need a number one defenseman, and so
yeah,
I think
and he's played with Schmidt
whether
before.
yes, so I think whether it's Eric or John, they're going to get one of the Carlsons. Um,
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting offseason. I mean, we've got the Tavares situation. That's nowhere near settled. I think I personally think he's gonna end up staying in New York, especially with all the changes they made recently. Speaking of, we should probably cover that. You saw that they fired both Waite and Snow, right?
oh wow, no, I actually didn't see that.
Yep, they fired their coach Doug Waite, and they fired their GM Gar Snow, who's been there for forever, and they hired old Lou as their GM. So
Oh really?
Lou Lamorello. Yep.
Huh.
Yep. So I mean, I feel like he's gonna see the front office trying to make a change, and will probably stay with the team at least short term. But I mean, that's an interesting situation. He could sign elsewhere. You got the whole Eric Carlson thing. Is he going to get traded? Or are they going to be able to extend him? What's going to happen with that?
Nah, he's not. He's not
Um,
staying in Ottawa. There's no way.
I don't think so. But it's just a matter of, are they going to trade him at the early in the draft? Or are they going to wait till the deadline and try to move him for picks? Whatever they're going to do.
Right.
Um, it's definitely an interesting one. You got Darling. He's going to be coming into Buffalo. What does he do to that team? Because now they have a bona fide number one defenseman. I mean, that kid's going to be a stud. They're saying he might be the best defenseman since Lidstrom. So,
Yeah, it looks that way at least.
so you got him and Ristolainen as your top pairing. That's pretty deadly if Buffalo can get out of this slump they've been in.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what happens with that. Um, I mean, Carolina lucked out. They got the second overall pick. That's going to be Svechnikov more than likely. What is he going to do for them? That gives them a scoring winger. Plus, they're kind of having a fire sale, so who's going to deal from that? Um,
Right.
there's a lot going on this offseason. It'll be a real interesting one. We'll probably delve into that a lot now that you know the big sports are over, the finals are done, the NFL's still off. During this down period, we'll probably just cover a lot of what's going on in the NHL and what could happen. But
Yeah, that's fine with me. I mean, it's our favorite sport, so
yeah,
it is what it
for
is.
sure.
Well, I guess on that note, unless you have anything else, we'll wrap this up.
Nope, man. Congratulations to the Capitals. Congratulations to Golden State again. Another year in the books. Congratulations to the Eagles. I guess we'll throw that out there too, since they're the other big three team. I don't watch baseball that much, so I'm not gonna even bring that up. But um, yeah, it's finally hit that dead period. We'll go into the off season, we'll watch the draft, and then we'll see what happens from here.
One last thing I forgot.
Yes, sir.
What do you think of Trotz? Do you think he stays with the Caps,
What do I?
or
I
he
don't.
walks?
I don't see them getting rid of their coach after they just won a cup. I think
Well,
that'd be a
well, no, no,
strange
no,
move.
no. They wouldn't be getting rid of him. It's just that they didn't extend him to an extension. Like last year, I guess he was kind of salty about it, and now he's a free agent, so he could walk. But they're gonna have to pay him
Yeah, but they'll
like a
pay
lot.
the coach whatever they need to pay the coach. It's not like Leonidas is stingy like Melnick. If he's got to shell out, he'll shell out. Um,
Yeah, I mean, considering what they obviously accomplished this year for the first time in their franchise history, you got to figure they're gonna be you know, like they're gonna pay whatever they gotta
yeah,
pay.
and I mean, on top of that, Trotz could walk, but where's he gonna go? You know what I mean? Like, what
Well,
opening is he gonna have for a team he's gonna do better on? I mean, the Islanders fired their coach. What other have any other teams fired? I mean, I know Carolina did, right? They got rid of Peters.
yes, they did.
Um, who else? I can't believe that McClellan's still in it, but Edmonton after this season they had it was atrocious. I thought he was gonna be gone, but they haven't fired him yet, as far as I know. Um, I don't see many other teams firing their coach, man. I mean, the Buffalo, they're not gonna give up on the guy they got. It's his first year. They're gonna give him some time. Same with Tocchet in Arizona. Um, maybe Montreal gets rid of help me out here. I'm drawing a blank. Who do they have? He used to be with Boston.
Oh, oh, Claude Julien.
Yeah, maybe they get rid of him after this year, but I feel like they, already did that once last year to get Julian, so I doubt they give up on him so quick. I don't see a lot of openings out there, man, for Trotz to go to.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
We'll see.
so
Like I said, I think considering he won the cup, I think we are gonna just be like, wow, how much do you want? Just
yeah,
yeah. So
they'll shell it out. Whatever he asks for, they'll shell it out. So,
yeah, absolutely. Um, all right, well, that'll do it for this episode of Gameday Gameplay. Like and share and subscribe and all that fun stuff. Check out the Console Space podcast. So I'm trying to think. This will be our last episode for probably about 3 or so weeks
Probably.
because I'm getting married and I'm going to Greece
Yeah.
for like almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
When is the NHL draft? Like June 21st or something like that, right?
Yeah, it'll be done by the time you get back,
Right,
for
right.
sure.
So the next episode, presumably, obviously, we'll discuss what went down in that,
Sounds
um,
good.
and I'll get that posted as soon as I can once I am back in the country.
All right, well,
So,
man. Well,
all right, dude. Well, thanks as always,
all right.
and
Well, I will see you next weekend, though.
you will. That you will.
Mm-hmm.
All right, brother. I look forward to it. I'll see you, man.
Later, brother.